Spiritual growth is rarely a loud or obvious process. More often, it moves like a gentle undercurrent beneath the surface of our lives, shifting us almost invisibly. We may not feel like anything is changing at all, yet slowly, a profound transformation unfolds within us. Unlike physical accomplishments or career milestones, spiritual growth doesn't announce itself with trophies or applause. There are no grand achievements or ceremonies to confirm our progress. Instead, it happens like the opening of a flower, quietly, gradually, and without fanfare. This subtle growth is often unmarked by clear instructions or visible markers, which makes it all the more elusive to identify within ourselves. We might find ourselves questioning if we're evolving at all or if we're merely treading the same ground day after day. Yet, for those who pause long enough to reflect, the signs of spiritual growth are unmistakable, even if they are quiet and gentle. This journey often requires a shift in perspective, as it contrasts with the rush and noise of daily life. When our minds are focused on the distractions of daily demands, it's easy to overlook the gradual transformations occurring within. But as we learn to observe these subtle changes, we recognize that growth doesn't always happen with dramatic shifts. It can also be as soft and steady as a river flowing downstream. These small, almost imperceptible changes add up, transforming us in ways we may only notice in retrospect or during moments of stillness. Over time, the accumulation of these quiet shifts can create an entirely new foundation within us, a calm strength that can withstand life's tempests. Spiritual maturity also shows itself in the way we interact with others. One of the first changes we might notice is in our listening, a shift in how we give others our attention. For most, listening is often colored by the desire to respond or interject, to share our own stories, opinions, or judgments. This is the norm in conversations, where many people listen with the intent to speak, rather than simply to understand. But with spiritual growth, a change begins to happen. We find ourselves drawn to a deeper kind of listening, one that is less about responding and more about being present. In this state, listening becomes an act of giving, a gift of undivided attention to another person without the need to influence or control the direction of the conversation. This shift doesn't just alter how we experience others, it affects them as well. People sense when they're being truly heard, without judgment or preconceptions, and they feel safe in such presence. They become comfortable sharing parts of themselves they might not reveal in a typical conversation, recognizing that this new way of listening offers them the space to be understood rather than evaluated. This internal change allows us to meet others with genuine curiosity and compassion, setting aside our usual tendencies to steer the interaction. Over time, this deep listening becomes a habit, and we notice that people are drawn to us, confiding in us, and seeking comfort in our presence. It's as though the transformation within us creates a space where others feel accepted and valued, sensing that our interest in them is sincere. As this new quality of listening deepens, we may find that the silence between words holds its own wisdom. In the past, we might have filled every pause with explanations or responses, thinking that to truly engage meant to keep the conversation moving. But now, we start to notice the beauty of simply letting someone's words linger, creating a space where they can feel fully seen. This shift in listening is not just a new technique, it's a reflection of the inner work we are doing, of a transformation that allows us to approach life with more openness and empathy. We begin to trust that there is wisdom in stillness, that some of the most profound forms of communication happen in the quiet spaces we create for others. As spiritual growth takes root within us, we start to discover the value of silence. We find ourselves increasingly comfortable with simply being present, realizing that wisdom does not always emerge from our thoughts or ideas, but from something much deeper. There may be moments when words come to us effortlessly, with a clarity and insight that even we might find surprising. We might wonder how we knew exactly what to say, or why our words had such an impact on others. This is often a sign that our spiritual self is aligning with a greater flow, a deeper current that carries wisdom through us, without the need for intellectual effort. This ability to speak with clarity is not about accumulating knowledge or perfecting our rhetoric. It comes from an inner alignment with life itself. When we are tuned into this flow, wisdom arises naturally, like water from a deep well. We may not know where the words come from, but we sense they're coming from a place beyond our usual thinking mind. It's a subtle, yet powerful indication that we are tapping into a wisdom that transcends personal intellect. When we let go of the need to control or shape our words, we allow life's intelligence to move through us in ways that can astonish even ourselves. This deeper connection also brings with it a sense of humility, as we recognize that wisdom is not something we own or possess. Instead, we become vessels for this intelligence, allowing it to flow freely without trying to take credit for it. In these moments, we find ourselves experiencing an effortless clarity, a knowing that comes from simply being present and aligned with the world around us. This inner state transforms the way we communicate, as we no longer feel the need to prove ourselves or defend our views. Instead, we allow the wisdom to come forward naturally, understanding that it is part of a larger intelligence that permeates all things. As our spiritual journey deepens, kindness takes on a different character. It becomes something we give freely, without expectation, almost as if it flows out of us on its own. In the past, kindness might have been attached to conditions. We helped others hoping to be acknowledged or perhaps to feel better about ourselves. But as we grow spiritually, kindness transforms. It is no longer transactional or driven by a desire for recognition. Instead, it arises from a compassion that feels natural and unforced, a genuine empathy for others. We find ourselves helping simply because we can't bear to see others suffer. This compassion, born from spiritual maturity, is free from self-interest and flows naturally, whether anyone is watching or not. This unconditioned kindness is quiet and often unnoticed. It's not about doing good for a reward or for praise. Rather, it's an act of the heart, something we offer without strings attached. There's a purity in this form of kindness, as it comes from a place of inner completeness rather than a need to prove anything. When we extend kindness in this way, we do it because it feels right, because in that moment, we can ease someone's burden, however small, and that feels like enough. This kind of kindness often goes unrecognized by those we help, and yet, that's the beauty of it. We don't need acknowledgement, nor do we seek validation. It's simply a natural extension of who we are, of the compassion that has grown quietly within us. There is a deep peace in offering help without expectation, knowing that we've contributed to another's well-being in some way. In fact, when we practice this type of kindness, we forget that we've done it at all. We don't keep track, nor do we let it feed our ego. Instead, we experience the quiet joy of giving, rooted in the understanding that, in easing someone else's pain, we also heal a part of ourselves. This kindness, deeply embedded in a sense of shared humanity, allows us to connect with others in ways that don't need words or explanations. It reminds us that we are all intertwined, that in helping another, we help ourselves. It's an act that speaks to our inner wholeness, a wholeness that does not seek anything in return, making this kindness a true marker of spiritual maturity. With spiritual growth, the ability to forgive becomes easier. While others may hold on to past grievances and replay painful memories, we find that letting go comes naturally, almost without effort. It's not that we forget what happened or deny the pain that others may have caused. Instead, we reach a point where we recognize that holding on to bitterness or resentment only hurts ourselves. We begin to see forgiveness as a path to freedom, a way to unburden ourselves from the weight of the past. Spiritual maturity brings with it the understanding that clinging to anger or disappointment keeps us trapped, while forgiveness allows us to release these burdens and live more fully in the present. This capacity for forgiveness isn't about excusing harmful behavior, rather, it's about freeing ourselves. We come to understand that by letting go, we're not absolving others of their actions, but choosing not to let those actions define us or weigh us down. There's a liberation in this, as forgiveness allows us to move forward without the heaviness of resentment. This shift is subtle, yet profound, as it clears our minds and hearts, making space for peace and acceptance. It's an act of self-compassion, a gift we give ourselves, knowing that we don't need to carry the pain any longer. As we let go, we find that forgiveness not only heals old wounds, but also opens us to a deeper sense of inner peace, a calm that transcends the past. With time, this ease of forgiveness becomes second nature. We start to notice that we no longer hold on to grudges, nor do we allow the past to overshadow the present. We see each experience, no matter how painful, as part of a larger journey, something that has contributed to our growth and understanding. In embracing forgiveness, we become more accepting of life's imperfections and more open to the lessons that each experience brings. We realize that true freedom comes from releasing the past, and in doing so, we create a spaciousness within ourselves, a lightness that allows us to live more fully and with a sense of peace. This state of forgiveness, born from spiritual maturity, becomes a quiet source of strength, enabling us to approach life with openness and grace. As we advance on this spiritual path, others start to sense a calmness in our presence. Without intending to, we become a source of comfort and peace for those around us. People feel lighter, more at ease when they're near us, and they may not even know why. It's not because we're doing anything extraordinary, but rather that our inner state of peace naturally radiates outward. In a world where stress and anxiety are common, this calmness is like a balm, creating a ripple effect that soothes others even if only temporarily. This quiet presence often draws people to us, not because we offer solutions to their problems, but simply because our calm energy provides a sense of relief from their own worries. In these moments, we find ourselves becoming more attuned to the needs of others without feeling the need to solve or fix anything. Our presence alone becomes a form of support, a silent reassurance that helps others feel safe and understood. This calmness is a reflection of the inner peace we've cultivated through our spiritual journey. It's a peace that isn't tied to external circumstances or achievements, but rooted in an inner state of acceptance and balance. This inner tranquility has a transformative effect, allowing us to navigate life with a steady heart, unshaken by the world's chaos. Over time, we come to appreciate the subtle ways in which our presence affects others. We understand that true support doesn't always come through words or advice. Sometimes, simply being there, offering silent companionship, is enough. We don't need to be the ones with all the answers. Instead, we allow our inner calm to speak for itself, creating a space where others feel seen and valued. This ability to offer peace without trying, without effort, is a testament to our spiritual growth, a sign that we've found a groundedness within ourselves that can weather any storm. In this way, our calmness becomes a quiet gift to those around us, a reminder that peace is possible, even in the midst of life's noise. As spiritual growth deepens, we begin to shed the need for external validation. In a world that constantly seeks approval through social standards, praise, and acknowledgement, this freedom can feel both unfamiliar and liberating. No longer bound by the urge to fit into societal molds, we discover that our worth is not dependent on others' opinions or the roles they assign us. This inner independence often appears unconventional to those who still look outward for validation. They may not understand why we don't strive for the same achievements or chase the same goals. But with spiritual maturity, the constant need for approval fades away, replaced by a quiet, self-assured contentment. This internal freedom allows us to live authentically, guided by an inner compass rather than the shifting tides of social expectations. We no longer feel pressured to conform or worry about how others perceive us. Instead, we find peace within, recognizing that our value is inherent and not something others can bestow or take away. This newfound independence can be confusing, even unsettling, to those around us as it challenges the way they view success and fulfillment. Some may even see us as odd or label us as different because we are no longer motivated by external rewards. Yet, this detachment from approval is deeply freeing, giving us the space to pursue a life that aligns with our true self. This sense of completeness within ourselves removes the weight of comparison and competition. We're no longer caught in the cycle of proving our worth or fearing rejection. Instead, we become whole on our own, anchored in a place of quiet acceptance. This independence may surprise those who are still attached to external affirmations, but for us, it's the ultimate liberation. We are free to follow our own path, guided by an inner truth that doesn't rely on others' expectations. It allows us to live with a sense of purpose and authenticity, grounded in who we are rather than who we're supposed to be. This freedom becomes a source of profound peace, a clarity that allows us to move through life without hesitation or fear, truly embracing our unique journey. Spiritual growth brings with it a heightened sense of self-awareness. Unlike many who look outside themselves for guidance or direction, we begin to turn inward, developing a deep understanding of our thoughts, motivations, and intentions. This awareness is not about judging ourselves harshly or striving for perfection, but about recognizing who we are at our core. We no longer need the world to tell us who we should be or what we should aspire to. Instead, we find that our path is illuminated by our inner truth. This clarity gives us the confidence to walk our own way, regardless of whether it aligns with others' expectations. In a world where people are often searching for something external to fill an internal void, this self-awareness is rare and invaluable. We realize that true fulfillment doesn't come from acquiring more, achieving more, or seeking approval. Rather, it comes from aligning with our authentic self, understanding what genuinely matters to us, and living in accordance with that understanding. This inner alignment brings a sense of purpose and direction that transcends fleeting goals or material achievements. It allows us to live with intention, making choices that reflect our inner values rather than reacting to external pressures. This deep self-awareness also brings with it a compassion for others who are still on their own journeys. We no longer feel the need to judge or compare, understanding that each person is navigating their own path to growth. This perspective enables us to approach others with empathy, respecting their unique challenges and experiences. In this way, our spiritual maturity enhances not only our self-understanding, but also our relationships, as we connect with others from a place of acceptance and understanding. This self-awareness, grounded in authenticity and compassion, becomes a quiet yet powerful force, guiding us through life with a sense of clarity and peace. In the end, spiritual advancement reveals itself not through grand, outward changes, but through a steady alignment with our true nature. This journey is not about achieving an extraordinary enlightenment or unlocking superhuman abilities. Rather, it is about finding peace in the chaos, living in harmony with ourselves, and allowing life to flow through us without resistance. The signs of this inner growth are often subtle, unannounced, and free from the need for recognition. Yet their impact is profound, shaping us in ways that are as quiet as they are transformative. Living in alignment with our true self means embracing a state of flow, where life's ups and downs no longer destabilize us. We come to see each moment, each challenge, as part of a larger tapestry, and we respond with calm and presence rather than resistance or fear. This flow is a state of trust, an understanding that life itself is the ultimate teacher, guiding us gently toward deeper insights and inner harmony. When we live in this state, we feel a profound connection to something larger than ourselves, a connection that cannot be shaken by external events. This quiet evolution often goes unnoticed by those around us, as it doesn't demand attention or accolades. But within us, it's a powerful shift, one that brings a deep sense of peace and fulfillment. We realize that we don't need the world's validation because we've found contentment within. This alignment with our true self allows us to face life with an open heart and a steady spirit, trusting that we are exactly where we need to be. And while this growth may be subtle and often overlooked, its effects are undeniable, touching every part of our lives and the lives of those we encounter. In this way, spiritual advancement is both a quiet journey and a profound transformation, a reminder that the most meaningful changes often happen in silence, gently unfolding within us. As we wrap up, remember that true spiritual growth is often a quiet journey, one that happens subtly within us. If you've noticed any of these signs in your own life, know that you're on a beautiful path of inner transformation. Thanks for staying with me through this exploration. If something resonated with you, share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. As always, may your journey be filled with peace and purpose. Wishing you a beautiful day ahead.